For 64 days, a community searched, looking for a missing Grayson County, Kentucky teenager. Savanna Crawford was only 16 years old when she walked away from her home in April of 2017. Her body was eventually discovered under a bridge 18 miles away. But how did it get there? How did she die? Tonight, Shane McAllister and the Unsolved team take us to Litchfield.
If Savanna Crawford's case was a movie.
This is the door that she had come out of, and she had walked up the sidewalk, and they had caught her on surveillance walking off of the sidewalk, and that was the last time that she was seen.
It would be a thriller.
During that time, we received hundreds of leads, hundreds of people who said that they had seen her from as far away as other states.
A child missing from a small Kentucky town. A search full of suspense.
We worked so hard. We did everything that we knew to do. We asked for outside help. I feel like I did everything I could to find this child.
The mystery taking a terrible turn.
She said, Ashley, she said, they found Savanna, and she's dead.
I'm Detective Kevin Smith with the Litchfield Police Department, and I'm currently the lead investigator on the missing person case involving Savanna Crawford.
16-year-old Savanna Crawford was known to wander the streets of her community.
This child, every day she would come home from school, she would check in with her mother, and then she would go out and walk. And this child covered several miles a day. She would walk around, listen to her music.
But she always came home until one night in April 2017.
Whenever the child didn't come home as she normally would, the mother became concerned and had been out looking for the child, so then she had contacted law enforcement in order to report that she was missing.
The night shift officer at Litchfield Police searched for the missing teen.
Most of the time, we can usually find them by the time this shift, is over. This was a little bit different.
Night turned to morning. Savanna was nowhere to be found.
Crossing every T and dotting every I and unturning every stone that we could think of.
Missing posters went up in store windows. Local law enforcement called in federal help. As days turned to weeks, families started to lose hope of a happy ending.
We kind of felt like, are we even gonna ever find her? Is she gonna be alive when we find her?
Seasons changed in Kentucky from spring to summer, and so did habits. And on a warm evening in June, a father-son fishing trip led them to a bridge in Hardin County, 18 miles from where Savanna was last seen alive.
That's who initiated the 911 call.
Hardin County Deputy Coroner Shayna Norton was one of the first to respond to the scene.
She's found down in this, a river creek bed with nothing else around. So of course we automatically think, is it a homicide? Did she fall? Was she thrown off, the side of the bridge? Or, at this point, it's anything that we can think of.
Her team took note of everything.
She was skeletonized, completely skeletonized. All of her clothing was still on, pants, shoes, socks, shirt, jacket. We did even find some money that was beside the body.
That money, the one and only clue collected as possible evidence in the case.
No cell phone, no wallet, bag, backpack, anything like that.
Investigators were able to positively identify her using dental records.
We know who she is, and we know that she's deceased, but we don't know when she died or how she died.
They were hopeful further examination of her bones would bring more answers as to what happened in the 3 months she was missing.
There was nothing. No bullet holes, no fractures, nothing.
Nothing. No evidence of foul play in the autopsy. No traces of anything in toxicology. For investigators, it was the only thing worse than delivering news of her death.
Some people will say, well, they had closure, they found her. No, they didn't have closure. They still lost their baby. They've lost their daughter, their sister, their granddaughter, and they don't have an answer as to how or why.
Despite the roadblocks, this detective promises to never stop searching for Savanna's story.
Somebody knows. Somebody knows how she got from Litchfield, Kentucky to where she was located in Hardin County.
Her family says they're desperate to fill in the blanks.
And I just feel like everybody's just giving up. But I don't want to give up.
But this team of investigators says they won't give up.
This is not a case that you put in a drawer and forget about. it's not going to happen.
Going so far as to remind us the final document in Savanna's life is one they're willing to adjust.
A death certificate can always be changed.
Investigators say they need more information about what happened on the night Savanna went missing. If you have any information that could help police find answers in this case, they urge you to tell local law enforcement. For the Unsolved team, I'm Shay McAllister.